Mark Hughes began Herbalife in 1980. He introduced his company to the public with a quality product line and a marketing plan that led the industry. Now, 12 years later, Herbalife is again offering a ground floor opportunity with the introduction of cellular nutrition and an unlimited marketing plan with that same competitive edge. The following program includes excerpts from an Herbalife meeting held in the Los Angeles area by Mark Hughes. His instruction and his insights have already helped thousands become more successful Herbalife distributors.
It's an interesting place to be here today. 12 years ago, I came to this exact hotel to book my very first meetings for Herbalife. I was looking for a place that I could schedule 3 meetings a week and do it very, very cheaply. And I'll never forget coming out of the caterer's office at this hotel. It was going to run about $100 per night for me to do those meetings, and it was going to cost me about $1,200 per month. And I walked out of here with my jaw on the ground thinking to myself, how in the world am I ever going to afford $1,200 for these meetings? And I left the hotel, as a matter of fact. I would not do meetings here. It was too costly for me. And a great thing happened to me on the way out of the hotel, though. I recruited a guy by the name of Paco Perez, who was parking cars here 12 years ago, and he started to work for me at a whopping 50 cents per distributor kit back then. And he always says, I wish I had kept that deal with him. But it's really exciting to be here. How many of you, this is the first time you've been in a meeting with me? Oh, a lot of you. Okay, great. Well, welcome for being here. Let me just quickly then go through a little bit about myself so that you get kind of where my attitude's at about what we're doing here, and then we'll get right into the training. I think the most important thing, though, here today is to listen to me as a distributor. My job is completely different today than it was 12 years ago. No question about that, when the only job I had in Herbalife was using the products, wearing the button, and talking to people every single day. And quite frankly, I really missed the time when that was my only job that I ever had to do. But today it's completely different. And yeah, it's a lot different today. Today I spend about 1/4 of my time doing all the distributor business and so on, and doing the rallies and building up my distributorship. I spend 1/4 of the time hands-on with the people who are the development of our products and so on, because I want to make certain that everything that we do keeps our philosophy intact with the integrity of our products. I spend another 1/4 of my time directly in opening up other countries, a lot of time in that area in government relations, making certain that the distributorship stays intact, and the other 1/4 of my time is directly running the company. It's a very different task today than it certainly was 12 years ago. But the thing that I love to do the most is come out here and talk to everybody about the business, because when you look at the company, it's really Mark Hughes' independent distributorship with a name tag on it called Herbalife. I was the very first person in the entire company, and I started sponsoring people. And I added the distributor relations as my distributorship grew because I wanted everybody to be informed on things. I got accountants to help me write the checks because I could no longer do it myself. I got people to run the warehousing operations because I could no longer pack the kits myself. And Herbalife really as a company grew out of a need to support my own individual distributorship. Jerry Svetanovich, she was with me in the office when we were getting those very first few distributors put together. When I was, just out there using, wearing, and talking and getting people's checks and getting them on the products and getting them into the distributorship. And Jerry sees me for who I really am. She said I was scared to death on that phone call to her mom. You bet your life I was. There was only a handful of people in Herbalife that had ever gotten on the products at that particular point. And I was legitimately scared to death. I was hoping it was, because if that call didn't work, what was the deal? She was going to think it wasn't going to work, you know what I'm saying? And she was my top person. And so, it was very important that phone call worked out. But just to let you know a little bit about me, and I'm going to tell you this story for a couple of reasons. One is hopefully it'll inspire you to see who you are here today and what you can become because of where I have come from. And so maybe it'll excite you. But I never did get a formal education. I only went to the 9th grade in school. So if schooling was a factor, I certainly wouldn't be where I am here today. I'm not putting school down. Maybe if I'd gotten a degree, I'd be better off than I am today. But schooling is certainly not a factor. And my very first job, real job, was I got a job at a clothing store. And funny enough, it was only 2 blocks from where Herbalife started. And I hated my job with a passion. I couldn't stand it. And the only reason I took the job, quite frankly, was the best job I could get at that time. I was making about $1,100 a month, and I really disliked what I was doing for a living. But the owner of the place was a really great guy. I mean, just a tremendous guy. His name was Greg Chapman. And after 12 years of trying to get Greg Chapman in the company, he just joined the company about 9-10 weeks ago, something like that. And after all these years, you know what I'm saying? I just got him as a distributor here about 9 weeks ago. That deserves, applause, you know what I'm saying? I'm finally getting my pitch down. Now, there's reasons why he joined, and I'm going to really point them out to you here today, because it's very important that you understand these stories that I'm going to tell you. But I got a very interesting phone call that totally changed my entire life one day. A guy called me on the phone who I'd sold a suit to, and he said, listen, Mark, there's an incredible opportunity to be involved in weight loss here in town. And I thought, weight loss, this is really interesting. Now, a lot of you know that I started Herbalife because my mother died from a drug overdose trying to lose weight. And this is about a year after her death. And I thought, weight loss, this is just exactly what I'd be looking for. It really tuned in quickly with what happened to my mom. And he said, there's a way where you can make a little extra money at this company. Why don't you come down and take a look at the business? And I came down to a meeting that totally blew me away. One of them was Renee Swisco. I don't know where she's at. She's in the room over here. She was making $3,000 a month part-time at that meeting. And I thought, my God, $3,000 a month part-time, that'd triple my income, and I'm out here killing myself to make $1,000 a month. I met a girl by the name of Libby Hodges who was making $5,000 a month. And all these people were like school teachers and all walks of life. And I thought, could there possibly be a way for someone like me to get involved in an opportunity and make more out of himself by doing something that sounded exciting like weight loss? And I joined the company that day, and I was so jacked up about the company. I mean, I got onto the products, and I started getting other people onto the products. And for the first time in my life, I loved what I was doing for a living. And started doing fairly well in the company. Within a handful of months, I was making $8,000 a month in the business. And for me, you have to understand where I was at that time, that was major life-changing event. And for a lot of different reasons, the company ran into the problems during the early 70s, and the company went away. And it was devastating to me at that time. And the reason it was devastating is I loved the deal, I loved what I was doing, I loved all my distributors that I was working with and so on, and all of a sudden this thing went away. And it was all because a man who was running the company didn't really believe in the company, really didn't believe in the cause, really didn't believe what he said he believed in, and he took all the cash out of the company and bankrupted it. That imprinted me like nothing else that had ever happened to me, and I'll tell you why some things have happened in Herbalife as a result of that. But it impacted my life. But I had some great things that happened to me in that company. One was I met a guy by the name of Dick Marconi, who was the manufacturer of the product. And the second thing was I met an interesting guy by the name of Mark Seaforth, and some of the other people that happen to be in this room here today from that particular meeting that are involved in Herbalife today. In fact, Mark Seaforth just joined the company and is a supervisor. And how many supervisors do you think they got in their downline now? About 22 supervisors in their downline just joined the company about 8 weeks ago. Yeah? You know what I mean? Now, there's a reason why he hasn't joined in all these years, and I'll get you guys tuned into why that's happening, because there's a lot of stuff that's happened in Herbalife in just a handful of months here that's going on. And so it was real interesting. About 3 weeks after that, I got another call on the phone by a guy by the name of Don Greneau. And Don Greneau said, hey, listen, Mark, there's another incredible opportunity to get involved in weight loss here in town. We know what you did in the past. Why don't you come on down to another meeting? Funny enough, Don Greneau was at my very first meeting that I ever had in Herbalife. Very first one. He dropped out of Herbalife, and he just joined again as a distributor about, 8 weeks ago or so. And how many supervisors would you say he's got in his group already?
His brother's right here. He got his brother for the first time.
Get out of town. You're Don's brother? No kidding. What is your first name? Mark Greneau. Oh my gosh. Isn't that something? Okay, well, Greneau's going to be a legend. There's no question about it. I just met with some of his people in Europe that are doing very well. Anyway, Greneau's just gotten in again as a distributor and a supervisor here in just last handful of weeks. And anyway, I came down to this meeting, and I'll never forget this guy doing the meeting. It was extremely charismatic. You know, it was all over the room. And so anyway, I was sitting up here in the front of the room, and I was looking down the aisleway here, and I'll never forget seeing this guy that had like this major hairdo, man. I mean, whoa. I mean, this thing was way out here, right? And he had like this kind of lime green suit on, lime green, and some kind of wild tie. I mean, the thing went 4 colors when it turned around like this. Had himself a walking stick. Now, check this out, walking stick. And so afterwards, Don gets together and he says, hey, I want you to meet my friend Larry. And then Larry says, hey, I want you to meet my friend in the lime green suit, Larry Thompson. And I'll never forget looking at Larry, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, not only did he have the suit and the walking stick, I mean, the guy had a 5-carat diamond ring on him, right? And I said, and he's got the, had to stand about 3 feet away from you just to keep this thing from hitting you in the forehead. And I said, where are you from, Larry? And he said, Dallas. I said, you may have grown up in Dallas, but you've definitely hung around Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? But that's how I got to meet Larry, and we all got involved in this company and started doing really well, and for a lot of different reasons, the company didn't make it, and it was a sad situation, and I met Linda Raft over here in that company and a number of other people in the room as a result of being in that company, but one of the most important guys I met in the company was a guy by the name of Dr. Bruce Halstead. And when this company folded, he invited me to an herbal symposium when the Republic of China came to America to open up the herbal trade. And that symposium totally changed the direction in which I would lead my life. And what was exciting to me is I'd learned a lot about nutrition at that time. I was already on the serious mission about what had happened to my mom and weight loss. But this symposium, they weren't just talking about nutrition. They were talking about the way they had treated their society medically with herbs for several thousand years. And I got to tell you something, you guys hear the stories, but I've seen the stories. I've been to China a lot of times, and I buy our raw ingredients there. And I got to tell you something, when you visit a doctor there, it is amazing what goes on with herbs. This is their medicine. Trying to keep the body well in prevention of getting disease, these guys are the world experts. And when I saw this stuff, you got to understand, it was very rugged back then. It was in the late 70s, and everything that I saw was in the form of like roots and berries and mushrooms and all this stuff. And I thought, here I am, 22 years of age, wound up about these herbs, no business to be involved in. How can I present herbs to Americans, especially when they're in the form of these nuts, berries, and mushrooms? And I thought, it's going to be a difficult job, is what I actually thought. And I went to my friend Dick Marconi, the manufacturer of the other product, and I said, listen, Dick, I have this dream I just got back from the symposium of putting together herbs that will have all the secrets of life, that really can do something serious for people's health, and all these nutrients and so on that we can put together with all the proteins and vitamins that we already know about. And I think that if we put all this stuff together, we could get people in America to accept it quickly through the form of weight loss. Now, why weight loss did I pick? I mean, I could have come out with any bottle and said, hey, herbal cure for this. The reason weight loss was as important was this. 76 million Americans at that time were going on a diet every single day, predominantly not having much success. So I figured if we could introduce all these ingredients, not only would we get people to lose weight, and not only would we do the main thing that was very important, which was to help people's health, the company would be in a position to open up the entire herbal business because people got on the product, lost weight, and regained their health. And that was my idea to Dick. And I said, now listen, Dick, this is going to be the most awesome thing that we've ever been involved in. I said, I don't know anything about formulating the products. I got an idea what it should be. I got an idea what it should look like. But I'm not a chemist. I'm not a scientist. I said, you're going to have to take a flyer on this young kid. Now, you got to understand who that kid was at that time. First of all, had very long hair, a 9th grade education, no management experience, no business background, no medical background, and no money. In other words, a serious problem is what I'm trying to get across to you. But one thing that Dick saw that day, which was fortunate for me, he saw a kid that had a burning desire to want to help people lose weight in a safe and natural manner so that they wouldn't have to go through the same stuff that my mom did. And he took a flyer on me that day. He was the one that had to be responsible for putting up the cash to put together the products. That took us about approximately a year to get together between the time the shake tasted good and all the nutrients were in there and the vitamins were put together and all the herbal compounds were put together. And I was going to be responsible for putting the whole rest of the company together. And I'll never forget when I first opened up Herbalife, because literally, I mean, if you had seen it in 1980, nobody would have joined. Just like the very first people I got in, you know, they didn't want to join. I mean, I walked into a meeting room full of 15 of my best friends, and I said, here's a baggie full of powder that's going to change the nutritional habits of the entire world. Now, I mean, this is not a serious business opportunity to be involved in, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they all thought I was totally out of my mind. Now, that's how I really started the company. And I'll never forget, I mean, if you guys could have seen my office, how many of you seen my videotape? Okay, you guys saw my old office on there? Okay, let me clue you in. That office looks a lot better in black and white than it did in color, man. I mean, if you had seen this office, you guys wouldn't have believed this deal. It was about as big as this stage right here. By the way, you can still go by and look at it. It's, I always get it wrong. There's 257 or 251? 251 South Robertson. You got to go by and check this baby out one day. I mean, it's literally about as big as this stage right here. And for some reason, I don't know why, I was into white carpeting at the time. Probably because the only jacket I had was a white jacket. And then I finally got a black velvet one, for those of you who remember those old pictures. And I was into this white carpeting. And within a couple of days, you know, because I was recruiting people off the street and stuff, the carpet was black. I mean, it was just disgusting. People would forget to put the top on the blender, and the shakes would go onto the curtains and stuff, little shake stains on there. We had this old, I don't know if they still got it in there. I'd like to go take a picture of this thing. We had this old, like a fan type of thing to cool the room off. You know what I'm saying? It would go, you know, every once in a while we'd feed the squirrels to keep that baby going. You know what I'm saying? The manual that we had was just totally outrageous. I mean, I said I had a 9th grade education, and it was certainly apparent in the manual. There was misspelled words to this entire manual. You wouldn't even have believed it. And first of all, whenever we needed one, we'd go Xerox one. And I mean, I didn't have the money to print manuals at that time. So we Xeroxed them, and at that time, back 12 years ago, it was cheaper to Xerox on one side than both sides. So it was 56 pages long. I didn't have the money to afford binders like you guys, so I put plastic deals on them. You know, like your children do for a book report, with those little sliding gizmos on them. And I mean, if you had seen this deal, we'd put this thing into the distributor kit, and when you'd take it out of the kit, the thing would fly off, the papers would come unfolded. I mean, half of our distributor training class on Saturday was teaching people how to carefully take that thing out of the kit, right? Just to keep it together. I mean, you know, if you had just been able to see it back then, I mean, I never forget my very first real meeting. Now, I want you to think about this. 23 years of age by the time I actually got the company started. And I never forget, I ran this little distributor ad. And how many of you ever run ads? Okay, for those of you who have, you know what I mean. I mean, it's rugged running these ads. You know what I'm saying? You get some strange characters when you get these ad people down. And especially, you know what's even worse is when you don't have any testimonials in the room. You know what I'm saying? That's really bad news, right? And I'll never forget, I had the 12 of the ruggedest looking guys you've ever seen in your entire life. And they're all 20 years older than I am, right? And I'll never forget these guys. They get the white belts, the polyester pants with the big snags in it, right? And these are the kind of people, they got all the answers and no money, these guys, you know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget pitching my socks off these guys. I had the little flip charts. They had these big school rings on them with these giant big cards. And the first one was, my family, right? And it was a little corny. I mean, hello, welcome to my family. Could you imagine that? Oh, God. 22 years of age, right, with all these guys going, right? I finally had my little Formula One there, so I was holding on to the deal, so it was really cool, you know. And I'm talking to everybody, you're not even going to believe how much weight everybody's going to lose. It's going to be the most outrageous thing we've ever done in our entire lives. And the question there that night was, you know, who's lost weight so far? And it went, I said, well, listen, you know, I got on the product and lost 16 pounds in 2.5 weeks. My granny's already lost 10 pounds so far. I'm telling you, the thing's already totally out of control. Let me clue you in. I mean, you know, you got to fake it till you make it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget. Then I got in the little flip chart, you know, had little zeros on there. And nobody had done any business. You know, I'm saying, listen, you guys have no idea how rich we're going to get at this deal. And they said, well, listen, who's got rich so far? I said, listen, you guys buy some product here tonight. I will. Long story short, it was not a successful meeting. And I got to tell you something. I was scared to death doing that meeting. Scared to death. Now, for those of you, how many of you have ever been scared to death when you go down and do these meetings and stuff like that? But I want you to think about doing the meeting scared to death and then being 22 years of age and having longer hair and being in that ratty little office with the stains on the carpet and the little flip chart and the labels that look like a joke and the manual that had misspelled words in it and then no testimonials. I mean, I want you to think about that one there. No ammunition whatsoever with no testimonials. And the fact is, it was very difficult back then, and you had to pay attention to some serious work habits, some serious stuff to get just a few things going, to get anybody to pay attention whatsoever, because in reality, it looked like Herbalife was going to fall apart at the seams any minute. And but, you know, thank God the product worked. And we finally started getting some people losing some weight, and we finally started getting some testimonials, and pretty soon people started to make a few bucks, and pretty soon, you know, and it wasn't a lot of bucks. I mean, let me tell you something. When you're out here going, the royalties are coming, the royalties are coming, you're not going to believe the royalties are coming. And you go out there and you sign the check for 97 cents. It's difficult to get your distributors wound up when your top person's making 97 cents, you know what I'm saying? But the royalties were coming, you know what I'm saying? And then we pitched our socks off, and we just kept doing it over and over and over. And there's only a handful of things that we ever did that really made it for us. And we're going to pass those things along to you here today. But what I would like to share with you is this, before we go on, is you guys are in an incredible time at this particular point. Why would a person like Linda come around now when she hasn't been around for all these years? Why would someone like Renee Swisco be around now when she hasn't been around all these years? Why would Santo Roberto in the back of the room be around right now at this particular time? Why would a Ron Touchard be around here right this moment when he hasn't been around in the last few years? Write this in your notes, because this is key. This is the whole pitch of what we need to be concentrating on right now. Because number one, it's a ground floor opportunity right this moment. We started this one on March 13th of this year. And that ground floor opportunity is called cellular nutrition. Now, as hard as it was back in Herbalife in 1980, with all the things we had going against us, why was it that we were able to attract so much attention in the company? Because we had a pitch back 12 years ago about herbs and the secrets to losing weight that nobody else had. Not one person in America had a herbal weight loss program like Herbalife. And what that did for someone like a Jerry Svetanovich, when she went out, even though she wasn't a salesperson, and said, hey, have you ever heard about losing weight through herbs? Guess what everybody on the street said? Never heard of it. You know, is there a secret to it? She says, yeah, they're losing weight like crazy with these herbs. Laid the story on them. People paid attention because of what? Write this in your notes. Because it was new. Why did Slim Fast catch so much momentum? Because it was new. Now, we got a product here called cellular nutrition that not anybody in America has ever heard from. You go outside this room and talk to someone about cellular nutrition. How many people you think are going to know what you're talking about? Nobody knows what you guys are talking about. Now, there's pluses and minuses with ground floor. Write this in your notes. It's the hardest when it's ground floor. When you're trying to present an idea, when you're trying to get something across to people, and it's new, it's the most difficult time there ever is. Write this down as your notes as number 2. That's where you can also get the richest. Write this down as number 3. Bigger the problem, bigger the paycheck. Wasn't easy talking about herbs and all this kind of stuff back in 1980. It was a problem. It was a very difficult problem. Nobody had heard of it. But those of us who paid the price got what? Rich. So, it's more difficult now. Now, you guys can all play this Herbalife game a couple of ways. And I'm going to tell you what I'm pitching to everybody right now, and I absolutely 100% believe it. And by the way, my pitch is becoming more true every single month, and I'm going to give you some facts to back it up. Number one, you got one way of doing Herbalife. Not at all. Okay? Period. After you see this deal here today, you got your $1,000 or your 50% orders in and all this kind of stuff, and you're out of the business. Now, I had people like that in the beginning of Herbalife, by the way. Okay? Got involved in the company, didn't believe what was going to happen, thought it was very difficult to do, didn't believe it was going to take place, didn't believe my presentation, didn't believe my pitch and what was going to happen. Out. Now, you don't think some of those people are sorry today? You bet your life. Some of my best friends, they kick themselves every single day. I was just like them. I was just like them. And then if they come to my house, you know, they come to my house. My house. Do you understand? Grande. Okay? And I was just like them. And I'm driving in my Rolls. You see? With my, have you seen my video sticker on the back? Now, it's more difficult back in the day. So you got a couple of ways you can play this. Number one, don't do it at all. Here's number two. Quit right now, come back in March. And I promise you by March, this is going to be easier to do. You'll make money quicker and you'll make money faster. And I guarantee you by September of next year, it'll be easier, quicker, and faster than that. Why? Because there's going to be some of us in this room and some of us in all the other rooms in Herbalife that do pay the price. And we're going to have enough people in America losing weight on this product and talking about cellular nutrition a year from today, where the rumor's out there and all of a sudden somebody comes in the company who doesn't know hardly anything about it, comes home with the bottles, and their aunt says, I can't believe you're involved in cellular nutrition. My girlfriend just lost 50 pounds with that stuff. Let me have it. Now, how many believe that kind of stuff's going to happen now, right? Now, that person, it's called easy for them. They don't know much about what's going on. But because a certain amount of us pay the price in getting what I call softening up the market, there's going to be people that get in a year from now that get in and do it easier, quicker, faster, and make money quicker. Now, there's a third way you can do it. Write this down. Make certain that you do it and pour it on like crazy now and have every single one of those people that do it quick, fast, easy, and get rich quick underneath you. Huh? That's what it's clapping for, huh? Why is it that a girl like a Jerry Svetanovich kept recruiting, kept her base getting bigger, a little 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 bigger, and it was only adding up to $1,400 in royalties? You guys were amazed by that story, weren't you? Hey, sounds like she's doing a lot of stuff to get this puny little check. She was. But that was called doing what? Paying the price when it's what? Ground floor. All these people were out there. Then all of a sudden the second year, what happened? It got easier. And some of all those people that were just kind of laying around in the fringes started back in and started doing it. And her check by the next year got up to 20 grand. And guess what happened the year after that when the explosion took place? She quit. And her check went to $90,000 a month. Write this down in your notes. She quit. Retired. Zippo. She bought a beautiful home up in Santa Barbara on the beach, and she retired. For 3.5 years, she did zip, and her check kept climbing every single month. Now, we got this thing called cellular nutrition that nobody else has got. Write this in your notes. We own that name. Now listen, cellular nutrition in 2 years to everybody's going to sound like what? The industry. Xerox, exactly. It's going to sound like Kleenex to everybody. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be this huge thing, and everybody's going to be out there trying to say, well, our stuff is this, and it's a form of cellular nutrition. They're going to have to be saying, because we own the name cellular nutrition. Now, you guys are on the beginnings of the birth of that industry. That's what you guys are. Jerry Svetanovich today, after 9 years, is a legend because she built Herbalife. John Tartle built Herbalife. Larry Thompson built Herbalife. All these guys were responsible for building that company called Herbalife. What are you guys going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now? You're going to be the legends of what's called this cellular nutrition. You guys understand that? The legends. Now, is it easy now? No. Okay? It's not that difficult either, let's face it. Okay? But the most difficult part we're ever going to play, I want you to think about how you're doing your business now, and a year from now it becoming 10 times easier. That's what I want you to think about. And then I want you to think the year after that 10 times easier, because let me tell you, it's a lot easier making $100,000 a month than it is making your first 500 bucks. Now, none of you know that yet. It's very difficult to say, oh, sure, okay? Sure it is. But I'm telling you something, your biggest hurdle is going to be getting up to $1 million a year. After that, it's duck soup. You know, I'm telling you right now. Now, we got this thing called cellular nutrition. Now, you guys need to understand that's serious. Serious is what that is. There's a reason why a guy like a Larry Thompson, after making $65 million in Herbalife, is out doing what he's doing right now. Cellular nutrition. You understand? We're paying, those of you who've been around Herbalife, you see us paying attention more right now than we did last year, don't you? Don't you? Now listen, we paid a lot of attention to Herbalife last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. But we're paying some different kind of attention to Herbalife right this moment, and it's because of cellular nutrition. Now here's number 2. Write this in your notes. Big one. Marketing plan. Listen, it was really amazing what happened to Herbalife. In those first 5 years, we set all records in American business history, and it was amazing what took place in that very first year. Got our sales up to $2 million within a short period of time that first year, and $10 million the second, and $58 the third, and $142 the fourth. In 1985, Herbalife was given the Entrepreneur of the Year award with the fastest growing company ever in American business history, with 119,500% growth in 1984 alone. Not bad, huh? And the company had that miraculous growth really for 3 distinct reasons. One was the fact that we had a product line that was unmatched and was like nothing else that was in the marketplace. When I started Herbalife, there wasn't any herbal nutritional weight loss supplements. There was not such an idea at that particular time. It was difficult for us to get the idea going, okay, because it was new and it was ground floor and nobody understood it. But once we took that concept to the marketplace and got it on a roll, it was amazing what took place. We also came out with a marketing concept that nobody had ever dreamt of in this kind of business. But when we started having checkers at Market Basket earn $50,000 and $60,000 a month, when we started having bartenders make $50,000 and $60,000 a month, when we started having truck drivers make $100,000 a month, let me tell you something, it woke the entire direct sales industry up. And it was just amazing what took place in our company. So, there was these unique circumstances. But I got to be honest with you, by 1985, 1986, there was a lot of different herbal nutritional weight loss programs on the market. And although they were never like Herbalife, and although they never had us in the product arena, there was a lot of the public that was mixed up on it, and we lost some of our competitive edge. Our marketing system was the most copied of any company ever in direct sales history. Everybody copied the Herbalife marketing plan, even improved on it a little with what they called these 5- and 6-level payments and so on. And what we concentrated over on the next couple of years was putting an Herbalife together that would be the identical same circumstances in which we did those first 5 years, where our product line had absolutely no competition whatsoever, our marketing system would have absolutely no competition whatsoever, and it would give opportunity for average, ordinary people like us an opportunity to go out and get wealthy. Now, you can take anybody, and you can stand there with conviction, and not because of you, not because of your own talents, but because of what the marketing plan is, you can beat anybody in any arena. Now, that's powerful. Now, I want you to write this in your notes. The message of what we're doing right now in Herbalife is more powerful than the messenger. The message of what we're doing right now in Herbalife is more powerful than the messenger. And you guys just happen to be the messenger. But if you're the messenger, regardless if you're even a little weak, if you got a powerful message, what is it called? Getting rich. That's why we had people from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, all different colors, all different kinds of money situations, got filthy rich. That's called serious, you understand? That's called serious. Okay, now here's the third thing that we got going in this deal. Is that people in America right this moment have the awesome opportunity to work with me and Thompson right now, much more right this moment in the next 2 years than they're ever going to the next 3 after that. Period. Let me tell you something. There was a handful of people that I was able to work with back in 1980. Hey, listen, you guys are close to us right this moment. This is about as close as you can possibly get to the head of the company. You understand what I'm saying? You're getting our information, our instruction, our game plan, just like we did in 1980. Now, let me tell you something. By 1983 and 84, there was 2 zillion people in every room in America, and we could only come out and do the deal, and we're out of town. Listen, we paid more attention to right here in Los Angeles, Florida, New York, than we've been doing in the last 4.5 years. Now, so we've got a couple of pieces to this pie here. Number one, cellular nutrition, the most awesome thing that's ever been out there. What's awesome about it? No competition. Number two, marketing plan. Nobody's got anything like it. Number three, an opportunity to work with the top of the company. Now listen, when you've been around 12 years, like Herbalife has, and do you understand there's only 2 other companies in the United States that have been alive for more than 12 years. That's us, Mary Kay, and Amway. Now, you join Amway today, how close do you think you're going to get to Rich and Jay? Not very close. Okay? Not very close. You understand? How close do you think you're going to work with Mary Kay today? It's called not very close. So there's 3 things that are going on here that are really awesome in Herbalife at this particular point. And we will get, within the next couple of years, a handful of people that pay attention to what we're doing with this cellular nutrition and make it so big and so awesome and so gigantic, we'll have lots of people like me and Larry that will take this message throughout the world. And let me tell you what's going to take place. Our goal is, and by the way, we started out in March talking about our goal, and it was called we were going to take this thing through the roof. And in February, we signed up 1,300 people in America. Last month, we signed up 12,000. That's serious. In March, it was called what? Write this in your notes. In March, it was called Theory. Listen, Herbalife's got its own path. Cellular nutrition, the marketing plan, and working with us didn't on March 13th. March 13th, this was Theory. February, July, August comes along. July, we were up $8 million a month more than it was in February. Now listen, write this in your notes. And I only made this kind of prediction once in Herbalife in 1980. And when I made that prediction, we had only done $2 million in business, and I said in 3 years we're going to do $100 million. And I was wrong. We did $142 million. And I'm making this prediction here today. I think we got a legitimate shot within the next 4 years to 5 years at the outside that Herbalife will have its very first $1 billion year. That's what I think is going to happen. Write this in your notes. That's called opportunity of a lifetime. That is called that the big money in Herbalife has not been made yet. That's what that's called. That's called the big money in Herbalife has not been made yet. Because when you take our company from where we're at right now at a couple of $100 million and go to $1 billion, that's called what? 5 times as much money. Do you know how much money that is? Oh, it's serious. Listen, I've made a few bucks in Herbalife. Now, let me clue you in. It's serious. 5 times as much money. Whoa. Now, you guys need to know that you're at the right place at the right time. That's what I'm trying to get across to you here today. You're at the right place at the right time. Is it going to be difficult? Sure. Will there be disappointments? No question about it. Will there be times when you get aggravated? No question about it. Will there be times when this thing drives you crazy? No question about it. But it's going to be worth it. Now, there's only a handful of things that you guys got to concentrate on here. Now, let me cover them with you. First thing is to keep everything in your business simple. Keep every single thing in your business simple. I'm going to teach you some simple things today. When I get done with you today, you're going to say, hey, some of those answers you gave us today sound ridiculous. But I promise you this. They will be simple answers, and they will be duplicatable. What is the key to getting your checkup? Key is how many people you get doing what you do. You can only sell so much product yourselves. I tell everybody to sell product, but let's face it. Can you sell 10 people a month, 20 people a month, 50 people a month, 100 people a month? At a point, there's only so many you can sell. The next point to making money is duplication. Now that means what you do has to be simple. Can you go get today, out of the warehouse, or distributor relations, all the different degrees and stuff from Dr. Katzen's ingredients and all this kind of stuff, can you get that and present it to every single customer and teach them why the A works and the B works and all that kind of stuff? Can you do that and get customers? Write this in your notes. Yes. Write this in your notes. Anything that you do will work. Anything. I don't care what it is that you do. If you keep doing it enough, it'll work. Question is, how fast does it work, and how many people can do it just like you're doing? That's the real question. So one of the things we're going to teach you here today is to keep everything simple. Next thing we're going to do is teach you how to do everything fun. And I also keep everything in my business easy. Okay? And I also keep everything in my business loose. Now, what do I mean by loose? I had a guy in the beginning of my business. He was a real knucklehead, right? Now, we used to work at the clothing store together. Okay? We used to work at the clothing store together. He made more money than I did. So obviously, when I started Herbalife, you know, he definitely knew more than I did, so he was going to do it his own way. When he wanted to do his own way, I said, hey, listen, here's all I know. I'm doing it this way. I told him what to do. I showed him what to do. He didn't do it, by the way, and then I showed him my check. He went off, he did his own deal. I'm doing it this way, I'm doing it this way. I told him what to do, I showed him what to do, I showed him my check. What I'm trying to say to you is this. I could have told him, if you do it this way, period, nothing's ever going to happen with you. You're a failure. If you only do it this way, that's it. You could keep things very, very rigid, and that's it. Okay? What I do is this. I let everybody do whatever they want to do, but I tell them what to do, I show them what to do, and I show them my check. And let me tell you what happened when my check was hitting serious numbers. He started doing exactly what I was doing. I keep things loose. Now, I tell them what to do, I show them what to do, but I show them my check. Okay? Now, here's the next thing. Treat everybody nice. This is critical. Treat everybody with respect. Treat everybody equal. Because, quite frankly, you just never know. You never know who you're talking to. You know, you can't judge somebody just because of the color of their skin. You can't judge somebody just because of their miserable background. You can't judge somebody just because of their hairdo. You can't judge somebody just because of the pants that they're wearing. You can't judge somebody just because of the way they speak. You can't judge anybody. Hey, listen, who would have ever known that two people that came over here from Czechoslovakia that had to get somebody else to write their flyers for them and go on the street and go like this, okay, that finally started to learn a few words of English, called Henry and Stanya Smeck, would make $35,000 last month. Now, who would have known that? Yes, it shocked you too, didn't it? $35,000, yes. Serious money. Serious money. Who would have ever known a guy like Doug Stuntz was ever going to make it in Herbalife? How could you have possibly known this deal? Guy came into the meeting with a pair of cut-off shorts, a tank top. Now, I mean, the guy had the respect to wear his best sandals that night. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you couldn't, the guy, I mean, listen to this, you're not going to believe this. Doug Stuntz used to take energy, 2 tablets at a time, and wrap them in tin foil and sell them on Venice Beach for 50 cents. And the guy made $3 million. How could you have known? I mean, how could anybody have known when you're watching him out there? Hey, you want some energy tablets? How could you have known? It's an impossibility to know something like that. Impossible. You guys think you got problems. Try to work with someone to get him to supervisor 2 tablets at a time. How could you know? So, with this thinking in mind here, here's a couple of things I make a big deal with everybody that joins the company. I keep everything kind of loose. Hey, the guy says, I'm only going to do it this way. Hey, go ahead, but here's what we're doing. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, and here's our check. Okay? I treat everybody with respect, everybody nice, everybody equal, but here are a few things that I make a big deal out of everybody doing. Number 1, using the products. Make a big deal out of everybody using the products. Every meeting I'm in, if you guys have been in one of my meetings 10 years ago and whether they are today, every meeting that I'm talking about is using the products. The reason why using the products is so critical is that what you guys are looking for is not just someone to buy $4,000 worth of product. What you're looking for is the man. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone who gets totally emotionally wound up in what we're doing. And one of the first ways you can do that is, number one, using the products and feeling the difference. So I make a big deal out of someone using the products. We don't need someone who just buys a lot of stuff. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm trying to say, I've seen lots of people buy a lot of stuff in Herbalife, and I've seen lots of people even build checks. And they're gone and they go to the next company because we don't have the man. You see, when Larry first got in, the first thing I did when I called up Larry the next day was not ask him to make his first product order. I asked him, have you taken your shake yet? Have you taken your tablets yet? For me, the most important thing for Larry was getting on the products, because I knew Larry was a good salesman, good in front of the room, good at recruiting people, good at everything that he needed to be good in, but we wanted the man. I knew if Larry Thompson bought the Herbalife deal, not the marketing plan and the cash, if he bought what Herbalife was really about, the health and helping people's health and stuff, if Larry Thompson bought that, I'd have the man. And look at what Larry Thompson has been able to accomplish in 10 years. I mean, listen to this here. You know what I'm saying? This is critical for your people the first 90 days. Especially when that money's not coming in, it's critical that they have something else to get them excited about Herbalife than just the money. Let me tell you who else it's important for. Someone who's making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who's making a lot of money. Because someone who's making a lot of money has got a lot of reasons to go do something else. Okay? But if you got the man, okay, you've got the person. Now here's the next thing I make a big deal out of. Getting other people on the product. In other words, retailing the product. Somebody asked me the other day, this big multi-level hotshot stuff, and he said, hey, listen, I'll just come in here, sign up my whole group, and leave, right? I said, hey, wait a second. Here's what we're going to do. Sign up your whole group. That's going to be fine. Let me clue you what we're going to do. We're all going to sell this product, period. Now, we have a 10-customer rule in the company. Okay? Why is it in there? Because no sales, no check. You know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. There's one way to build your check. What's that called? Sponsoring people. But if none of those people are selling product every single month, what happens? Check goes right down. Can you build a check by lots of people getting in and buying product? No question. But what happens if the recruiting slows down to any degree whatsoever? What's going to happen to that check? Right down to next month, because no substance. Okay? Now, I was telling some of the people on the workshop the other day, it's really interesting. There's a lot of supervisors in my group. Okay? There's like 42,000 downline supervisors. Now, in this now, by the way, all of them don't use the product. Now, if I could have got them all to use the product, my check would be significantly more. By the way, significantly more. Okay? But when I look at this organizational chart, most of it, write this in your notes, very important, do between $500 and $4,000 worth of business. Do between $500 and $4,000 worth of business. Now, that's critical because most of you think that the way you make big money here is you got to get 4 hot shots that do $10 billion a month. Part of that's true. But I can count on these hands here how many hot shots I got every single month that are doing $10,000 and $20,000 worth of business. I have several people as I look through my sheets. People who don't do anything at all. I got zeros on my check. Do you believe that? Out of 42,000 people, I got what? Write this in your notes. More zeros than you. I do. I got more. The reason why I make more money is I got more zeros than anybody in this room, period. That's one of the keys, okay? I got more zeros than everybody in the room. Now, here's the other thing I got. I got more other people than anybody in the room. In other words, I got some people on my check here that come by that just get a little bit of stuff for themselves and their friends and their family, and that's what they do. But, hey, you get a lot of people doing that, okay, and it's called serious. Now, some of us think we only can get our people to do more, and that's how we get more. Write this in your notes. You get more by you doing more. That's how you get more. Not everybody in your group is going to have the same attitude about Herbalife that you do, period. Hey, listen, if everybody I talked to about Herbalife had the same goals, attitudes, and desires I did, I'd really be rich. You see what I'm saying? But I got some people that do nothing. I also got some people that come by here, buy a little bit of product. Now, I also got people in this group that do a couple of $1,000s a month in 2 categories. They're just out there retailing the products themselves. Then I also got some people that are just doing $2,000 worth of business per month just to get their royalty override checks on each other. Now, you pile up a bunch of people that are only doing that just to get their checks on each other, and it's called serious money. And then I got this. Write this in your notes. I got some people that wanted to get rich. I got some people that wanted to get rich. That's why I keep everything loose in Herbalife. And everything simple and magical and so on, because I know I'm going to have people in these 4 categories. I'm going to have people that do zip. I'm going to have people that believe in the products and just get a little bit for them and their friends. I don't want to blow them out of Herbalife just because of my goals and desires. I got people that do a couple of $1,000, $3,000 a month, and what do I do with those people? I tell them they're a good guy, good job, keep going. I put the events in front of them. I'm going to tell you some other stuff that I do, but I always tell them they're great people. Because if you tell someone who's doing $3,000 a month that they're a bad person, what will happen to them after a while? They get discouraged. Not everybody's going to have the same goals, attitudes, and desires you guys do. And then I got some people that wanted to get rich. So what do? I put the big story on everybody. I let whatever happens, happens. Okay? Now, the reason why others are so important, the reason why I like my distributors immediately to get out here and get some other people on the product is because sometimes other people's experiences can affect someone far greater than their own experience that happened to them. Everybody know what I mean? Who in this room has got somebody in their family or friends or off a flyer that had something happen to them that really got you emotionally and it was better than what happened to you? Okay? For those of you who haven't yet, hold on. Wait till you have your very first person that loses 305 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Wait till you have your very first person that loses 50 pounds. And comes back to you and says, hey, my husband likes me today. I'm not having arguments any longer. My kids accept me better. I'm better at my job today. Thank you so much for Herbalife. Wait till you guys have that very first experience. So these 2 things here, the reason why these are critical to me is because this to me is what? Getting the man. Listen, $4,000 worth of business, great. Guy qualifies supervisor. So what? He's a souped-up consultant. What we need, okay, are people who are into Herbalife, that are emotionally tied to the company. Why would a guy like Larry Thompson keep going out here and working after making $65 million? Why would he do it? You know what I'm saying? I know some people probably in this room that wouldn't work another day if you made $65 million. Why would the guy keep doing it? Because he loves what he's got the ability of doing for other people every single day. What winds Mark Hughes up every single day? I guarantee it's not making another couple of $1 million. Hey, would I like another couple of million? Sure, I'll take every million I can get. Okay? But the truth of the matter is, another 4 million, another 10 million is not going to change my lifestyle that much. You know, your house can only get so big, so many cars, so many this, so many that, and then after that, what else are you going to do? What keeps me out of bed every single morning is knowing that I've got the ability to get some people excited that could have the possibilities of getting someone else on their product, and we get a story that knocks me out, just totally takes me away. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why Mark Hughes is in Herbalife today. You understand? The deal has got me. Got me. And that's what we want. We don't need someone that just buys 4,000. We need to get the person. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, good. Now, here's the third one. I make a big deal out of wearing the button. Big deal out of it. A big, big deal out of wearing this button. This button is critical to your guy's success. Guy told me the other day, he says, listen, you're telling me that for me to get rich, I got to wear this stupid looking button? And I said, exactly. You have to wear this button every single day. Now, I know what some of you are going to do. This is going to be called wearing the button. I know it. I know it as well as I'm sitting in here. You guys are good little Herbalifers when you come in here and you go, and then as soon as you get out of here, it's one of these. I know that's going to happen. Now listen, you can't get any hits from the button like this. I was in a meeting the other day. This little girl came up to me, very shy and stuff like that, and she says, I'm having problems getting people onto the product. And I said, where's your button? She says, it's on my purse. I said, have you ever noticed that people cannot see it when you're swinging it like this? I mean, you may score on a few drunks when you do it that way. But you got to get this button on. Now listen here. I know what the deal is on this button. Listen, it was a big deal for me to go put that "Have you seen my video" sticker on my Rolls Royce. Understand? A big deal. You know what I'm saying? But listen, I'm going to leave you with one story on this button. I want you to memorize it, and I want you to tell it to your people. You know, I tell these stories because they're true. And I tell them because it gets people to wear their button. Now, communicate the story. I was in a room the other day in Europe with Christine Lewis. She walked into a discotheque wearing the button. One guy saw that button. His name was Alan Lorenz. And she stood up in that room in Europe and told us that she was going to make a minimum of $250,000 this year on Alan Lorenz from wearing that stupid-looking button. Now, put on the button. Wear it at home, wear it to the grocery store, wear it at the mail room, wear it around the office, wear it on your pajamas, wear it in the shower. You know? You never know who's coming by now. You know what I'm saying? Get the button on. Now, I make a big deal out of this button. Big deal out of it. I was with my friend Don Greneau the other day. I said, now get this button on, Don. But here's the other problem with not wearing that button. You might be an excellent salesperson, and you might be able to get going without the button. But guess what happens when you sign up your first housewife? Guess what happens? Write this in your notes. Your people do what you do. And guess what happened when I met with one of Don's cool, romantic guys in Germany here a couple weeks ago? He was styling in the room. He has little pretty ladies with him, and guess what he didn't have on? His button. You know what I'm saying? I said, where's your button? You know what I'm saying? And see, his people do exactly what Don does. So, Mark. Good for you. You're going to be the one in the family that scores. I just know this. I make a big deal out of this button. Now, here's the thing I make the biggest deal out of everything on. That's talking to people. I make a very big deal out of talking to people. Because let's face it. After we get you clear on the products and you're using them every single day, after we get you wearing your buttons and you're doing that every single day, after you've gotten excited about getting a few other people, you know what the rest of Herbalife's going to boil down to? This one right here, talking to people. I make a big deal out of talking to people. How many of you ever had someone in your group that says, hey, I talked to every single person in Los Angeles and nobody's interested? You have one of those guys? Okay, write this in your notes. Not true. Not true. When someone says to you, hey, I'm using the products exactly right and I'm not losing weight, what's your guy's attitude? Immediately you say, lying and cheating. Now maybe that's not what you say, oh, you big fat liar and cheater. You know what I'm saying? You may not say that, but that's what you think mentally. And regardless of what words come out of your mouth, that's what's being communicated to that individual. Is that right? Now, why does that happen? Because most of you lost weight or felt better quicker than you made money. See what I'm saying? Now, you know how you lost the weight. You took a couple of shakes, you took the tablets 3 times a day, you ate what you wanted to, and you cut back. Isn't that how you did it? Okay, and you know if someone else does it, that's how they're going to be able to do it. Now, when someone says to you, hey, I talked to 1,000 people and nobody wants to do it, that's not true. Here's what you need to write in your notes. Write this down. This is important for you guys to get emotionally. They're lying and cheating. Period. They're lying and cheating. It is an impossibility, I don't care how bad you are at the pitch, to talk to 1,000 people and not get someone to join. Period. It is a human impossibility. So what I make a big deal out of is my people talking to people. Jerry said, what did I have all my people glued onto? That I could get glued to it. 10 people on the products, 10 people on the recruiting every single day. She had her chart from back then. 20 people a day times 30 people a month, 600 people a month. 600 people a month you talk to means what? So many people will come to the meeting, so many people will get signed up, so many people will break supervisor, and it equals a check. So I make a big deal out of people talking to people. Now, After a while, what will your distributors do? 2 of these, 3 of those. It's corny, but it's also called duplicatable. Called anybody can do it. Anybody can go, hey, 2 of these, 3 of those. Okay? Now, when we talk to people, here's what we talk to them about. Number one, we tell them the Herbalife story. Herbalife story is, hey, Mark Hughes got the company started, tragedy in his family. The company had some very interesting things in the beginning. Ground floor opportunity with an herbal program. Ground floor opportunity with their marketing plan. People from all walks of life got in, got rich. Jerry Svetanovich made $6 million, was a school teacher. So I tell them the old Herbalife story. Everybody got that one? Okay? It's basically the old story. Now here's the second thing we tell them. Cellular nutrition started on March 13th. We tell them the villi story. Anything that they ask us, what is the answer? 2 of these, 3 of those. Okay? And then we back everything up with what? Testimonials. Anything that you get stuck on, 2 of these, 3 of those, here's the testimonials. That's quick training. Okay? Third thing we tell them, marketing plan. Point to yourself, point to somebody else, get the journals, whatever it is you got to do. Guy says, exactly how does it work? If you can explain it, explain it. If you can't explain it, say it works exactly like this. See this guy right here? His check was $100,000 last month. Got any more questions? Tell the marketing plan, tell testimonials. Now, listen, you say to yourself, well, hey, will that work? People don't want to know how the marketing plan works. They want to know that it works. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you can explain the marketing plan, great. Can't explain the marketing plan? Here's what your pitch is. Hey, listen, the beginning of Herbalife started in 1980. It's tragedy in Mark Hughes' family. Incredible, awesome product and so on. And because of the product and the marketing plan, people got in and got rich, and they just started this ground floor opportunity completely over again with cellular nutrition March 13th. Nobody's got anything like it. Villi, 2 of these, 3 of those. Here's the testimonial so far. Here's the marketing plan. Here's the results. And then number 4, sign them up. Now, guess what's happened out of some of the people that I've signed up? Some of them are doing, put this in your notes, some of them are doing nothing. Now, isn't that amazing? After the kind of awesome stuff that we got going on in Herbalife, and the amount of money that we've been able to accumulate in the last 10 years, and the stories that are going on about this product, isn't it amazing that some of my nitwit friends are not doing this? That's pretty amazing to me, by the way. Now, that doesn't mean that some of them will get excited about this later, because they might, okay? But some of them are not doing it. Now, some of them are doing what? Doing real good, okay? Now, I called this other guy up the other day, and he didn't come down to one of the meetings that I invited him to. And then I got back on the phone with him here the other day. Sometimes I pitch people more than once. Last time I called you, I was talking through some theory. Now, let me tell you what's taking place here right now. Took them through this, took them through that, took them through some what? Testimonials, because now we got some. Put the marketing plan. What did I tell him after the marketing plan? Did I explain the percentages and all that to him? No way. Okay, he wouldn't even understand it if I told it to him. I told him testimonials. Then the next thing is, sign him up. Okay? This is what I talk to people about right there. Do I have to talk to them about anything else? I don't, personally. This is it for me. And then I sign them up. Now, what happens when you get someone who doesn't want to sign up? Here's what you got to do. Put this in your notes. Do the best job you can. Remember that it's not the messenger, it's the message. If you tell this message for what the message is, in other words, Herbalife story, ground floor product with the product, cellular nutrition, Villi, 2 of these, 3 of those testimonials. You tell them the ground story about the marketing plan. I don't know how it works, but here's the checks. Okay, and what's happened so far. You tell that story. You can only tell that story. Do you know this? So good. Because it's the message, not the messenger. Listen, I invited Greg Chapman to the last 2 extravaganzas. Now, these extravaganzas were hot, you understand, and I couldn't get him, okay? But guess what happened this year? The message is more powerful than Mark Hughes. That's what the answer is. Now, I'm just as good a salesman today as I was last year. Just as good last year as I was the year before that. But my message today is better than it was last year. So even me, the message is stronger than Mark Hughes. The message is stronger than Larry Thompson. You guys have to understand that you guys have got the message that anybody can tell. So you take them through this stuff right here. And I keep telling them to talk to people, talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. And then when they say to me, hey, I'm having a problem, what do? What do you do when someone's having a major problem and they're saying, hey, things aren't working for me? Guess the major thing, I do a little bit of refinement, but guess what the major message at the end of the call is? Use the products, wear the button, and keep talking to people, talking to people, talking to people, talking to people, because really what it boils down to is what? Talking to people. How do I know that? Because that's exactly what I did. I kept talking to people, talking to people, talking to people, talking to people, and by golly, here we are here today. Now, when we're playing this game here, this is something that's important for everybody to go through here. I signed up 196 people in 6 months. 16 of those broke supervisor, only 8 did it. By the way, if you look at 16 supervisors out of 196, does it look like I did very good in my business? Does it? Truth of the matter is you guys are going to do a lot better than I did. That's the truth of the matter. When I look at only 8 people doing Herbalife out of 196, does it look like I did a very good job? Or I had very good success? But let's play a mental game here today. And let's say that we're going to make this mental game last for the next year. Suppose I told you that we were going to give you $1 million cash after you signed up 196 people first line. Period. Regardless of what happened to them, regardless of what they did, would it matter to you mentally if the first 180 people that you signed up absolutely quit? Would it make any difference in your thinking pattern? No, not whatsoever. What if the next 7, your best guys, your best runners, the people who are doing $10,000 a month, what happens if those people absolutely 100% quit? 7 of your top guys split, and you're left with 9 lonely little distributors left. Would your mental attitude be excitement? Oh, wait a second. Come on, gang. Pay attention here. We're going to give you $1 million after the next 9. You only got 9 more to go, and you get 1 million smackers? There's no question what your attitude level would be. And here's what I've seen in Herbalife, which is interesting. Some people, the first 16 people they sign up, they score on. That's what happens. That's exactly what happened to Larry Shine. He got in, he got all his friends signed up, all of his friends scored, he made $75,000 his first 90 days. Right after that, he made $2 million. Now, I've seen 2 types of distributors that score in the beginning, and I want you to put this in your notes because it's important. Those people that score make a lot of money, and they stay with Herbalife forever. Then I've seen people that score big in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they hit that next 180 that they don't do too good on. And all of a sudden, because it was easy in the beginning and the checks started rolling in, and all of a sudden they hit a rough spot, and you're all going to hit a rough spot. You're all going to hit a point where 20 people that you sign up you don't score on. 30 people that you sign up you don't score on. And I've seen some of them make so much money so quick, so fast, that when they got down to having to do the real work, they ended up saying, hey, this thing is not what I quite thought it was cracked up to be. I've seen both of those kind of individuals in Herbalife, and for those of you who hung around, you've seen them. So if you're getting a lot of success quick, don't get fooled by the success quick. Stick to the basics, day in, day out, day in, day out. Now, at the same point, I've seen some of the people that do it slow get the richest. Some people that I've seen this thing do slow. For some of you who are not doing all that well. Some of the people that I saw do it day in, day out. They weren't distracted by anything. They were satisfied with 1,000 and 1,500 and 2,000. I'll tell you the perfect example. Tish Roisin, Larry's sister. Every single day, scratching it out. What would you say Tish's check was after a year? $1,200, and then she's, keeps scratching in there. She wasn't very good at recruiting, very discouraged. I mean, you talk about a lady who's nervous about doing meetings. It's unbelievable. I mean, this lady will not, I'll never forget her doing a meeting for me one time, and she got up there and she said, there's the products. They make you feel good. The marketing plan's great. And let me just introduce my good friend, come on up. I mean, it was unbelievable. But she kept doing it over and over. Now, the amazing thing is that she does it not very far off from now. And last month, Tish made, how much would you say? $42,000 last month. You see what I'm saying? So, now what would happen if we told you here today that if you stayed with Herbalife for the next 6 to 7 years, and you started making $1,000 a month, then $1,200 a month, then the first year maybe $30,000, the next year $50,000, then the next year $100,000, then the next year $250,000, and the next year what would happen if you went up in little bitty gains like this? And 6 years from now, you were making $50,000 a month. Would it be worth it? How many people would stay if that could happen? You see, that's called patience with your business. You know what I'm saying? Some of you have actually been in your own jobs for 6 years, and I'll bet there's at least 3 or 4 of you in this room still not making $50,000 a month. Yet some people's expectations for Herbalife are, hey, if it doesn't work out this week, I'm out of here. If it doesn't work out the next 90 days, I'm out of here. If it doesn't work out this year, I'm out. Where we had some people like Jerry Svetanovich that weren't very talented, that didn't have much sales skills, that didn't get distracted by her $1,400 check after a year, and she's going to make over $1 million this year. You see what I'm saying? Hey, if you had to stick... I was in Australia the other day. What an amazing experience it was in Australia. I mean, I just can't even tell you about this deal. There was this girl named Lorraine Richardson who gets up in front of the room. Been in Herbalife for like 6 years. Went through some tremendous tragedies in her personal life. Long story short, she hung around, kept doing the deal. She was a housewife. Her check in February was something like maybe 20 grand or something like that. Last month, Lorraine Richardson made $50,000. She's in a town of 2,000 in a town called Tumby Umby, Australia. And she's traveled very few places in Herbalife. Some people say, well, hey, you got to get on the ground floor of one of these countries and stuff like that. Lorraine Richardson's been working right over there in Australia for the last 6 years, last month, $50,000. And it was interesting what she said. I want you to write this down, because I thought it was very interesting. She said, a lot of people have said I've been lucky. She says, but you know what's interesting for me? The harder I work, the luckier I get. The harder I work, the luckier I get. Hey, maybe I did score on 2 or 3 people, but you know what? The harder I keep working, the luckier I keep getting. Gary DeBrabender stood up that day, and for any of you who haven't seen Gary, he's just a real interesting guy. Stands about 5'4". He's a little bitty guy, you know what I'm saying? And he used to be a bartender. And he was telling us about how he drags these people out of the bar and stuff like that. 4'5", this little guy. And and he said, last month I made $75,000. So I used to be a bartender swapping the floors for a living. $75,000. He says, you know what? When I used to come into the meetings in Herbalife a few years ago, he said, everybody told me I was short. And he says, you know what, today I can be taller than anybody in this room by standing on the size of my royalty override check. There was a little girl that got up, totally blew the audience away. Her name is Margaret Harnos, and she got up, and it was just a total mind blower. I got up, I said, now listen, Margaret, just tell us, kind of what you do and stuff. And she says, well, my name is Margaret Harnos, and I'm very shy, as you can tell. And I'm just a housewife. I do this just, from my kitchen table and stuff. And what I do is I use the products, and I wear the button, and I just talk to people. And I never have run any advertisements, and I've never run any flyers or anything. But I've just been real consistent, and I only do this part-time, and I guess Herbalife sent me last month about $20,000. And then she looked at me and she said, I haven't told Mark yet, but I'm going full-time Monday. I mean, the whole audience said, man, if this girl can do it, we're going to get rich. And what I'm trying to say here is that these guys play the mental game. And what I'm trying to get you used to in here, hey, if the first couple of people that you get in you don't score on, big deal. If the next 10 people that you get in that you don't score on, big deal. Play the mental game of just keep doing it over and over. You don't think it wasn't discouraging for Jerry to know about the amount of people that she signed up, and after all that time her check was only $1,400? Of course it was. But this is called ground floor, gang. What is this called? Ground floor equals our hardest time. You see what I'm saying? It means that we can either do it now or we can do it later and make money quicker. We do it now, we get all the people that make money quicker underneath this, and it's called get rich. So, you got to play this mental game. Now, here's the last thing that I really make a big deal with all the group. Promotion. Herbalife gives you guys a tremendous amount of things to promote to get your businesses going. Let me tell you what the hardest thing to do in Herbalife is. Once you're using the products, once you're wearing the buttons, your hardest work is going to be handing out those flyers, answering the telephones, getting a few people in, and getting them signed up and so on. That's the hardest work. Now, if you'll use promotion, that's the easiest work that you'll do, and you'll pull the biggest volumes if you'll learn how to promote. Now, here's what promotion does. Write this in your notes. It gets your people to do things that they normally wouldn't do under regular circumstances. Promotion makes your people do things that they normally would not do under regular circumstances. Now, what I'm going to cover with you here in the next 10 minutes is critical. You want to talk about jacking your check up, $3,000, $5,000, $20,000. I mean, I've seen people actually take $50,000 a month jumps by learning how to promote. Okay? So, let me tell you about my first promotion I ever did in Herbalife. It was the third month we were in business. No one in the company had ever done over 4,000. And by the way, there was only probably 7 people in the company that did 4,000. I started talking to my organization, and I said, we're going to do the most awesome thing that's ever taken place in Herbalife. And they said, okay, give it to us, Marky. What is it? I said, anybody who does $7,500 with a business this month, I'm taking you down to Palm Springs, and we're going to rent the most outrageous home that's ever been rented in Palm Springs. It's got a pool, it's got the look, it's got the whole thing. We're going to get a suntan, and what we're going to do is the people that get to come, we're going to plan the entire strategy of the entire company for the next year. What started happening? By the 12th, by the 13th, Jerry Svetanovich was doing $4,000 with a business. Guess what I did? I called up Doug Stuntz, and guess what I did? I said, listen, Doug, Jerry's already got $4,000, and you don't want a woman to beat you to this deal. Doug Stuntz pulled his hair out. He says, I can't believe it. He's working till midnight. He's going crazy. Doug's up to $5,000. I get Jerry on the phone. Guess what I say? You don't want a man to beat you at this deal, Jerry. This is just really something. You can't let Doug get there and you not get there. Jerry's running. She's going crazy. Guess what happens? Doug made it to the deal. Jerry made it to the deal. Frank Lutz was there. Don Grineau. Long story short, there was 7 people that made it to that deal, and I put my check up $2,300 that month. Now, the hardest thing I did was recruiting, doing my little flyers and my advertisements to get the people in, going through enough people to get someone to pay attention. Once I got them as supervisors, now what was my deal? Now I put something in front of my organization to get them to do something that they normally wouldn't do under regular circumstances, and I jacked my check up $2,300. Now let me clue you in on something. I would never have the ability of pulling off that deal again in a million years. If you had seen this home in Palm Springs, I mean, it was one notch above my office that I was telling everybody was so awesome. You know what I mean? I mean, this deal had stained carpets. It did have a pool, by the way. But to me, at that time in my life, for who I was and how poor I was, I thought that was the most incredible home I'd ever been in my entire life. I thought it was an awesome deal. There was only 2 bedrooms, and I got the big suite, right? It's a little dinky deal like this. But of course, I was the prez. I couldn't let anybody sleep in my room, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else, there was 9 other people, had to get jammed in between this room and the living room. Sleeping all over the floors. Most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your entire life. And let me tell you something, we had an absolute blast. I mean, you talk to Frank Lutz about it anytime you want to. I mean, this deal didn't cost me anything. They went crazy at it. We got the company organized over that weekend. And I got to tell you something, a lifetime of relationships happened as a result of that 3-day weekend. A lifetime of relationships, and people had actually built the Herbalife company. So this thing, it doesn't take much is what I'm trying to say. So where do you start your promotion out at? With your customers. It's amazing to me you guys will do so much work to get a customer, and then you're passing the easiest business that there is, and that's the referrals. The hardest work you're ever going to do is putting out the flyers, talking to people on the phone, getting the customer. Then you don't even ask the person referrals. Here's what I do. As soon as I get a customer, I say, listen, I'm just getting my little business going. Who else do you know that needs to lose some weight? I really need your help right now. Most people, what they told me was what? Well, if I lose some weight, then I'll give you some referrals. I say, now you promise you'll give me some if you lose some weight? See, most people will promise it to you because they don't even think they're going to lose any weight. You know what I'm saying? They're thinking they're going to get their money back in the next 14 days. 20 days goes by, they've lost 15 pounds. Guess what I do now? Mary, remember you promised me that you could get my business going here because I really need your help. You've lost weight now. Who else do you know that needs to lose some weight? She gives me 5 referrals. When I get the 5 referrals, what do I tell her? I'm going to do $500 worth of business on that. I'm going to make $250 because I'm at 50%. There's an opportunity for you to make that kind of money if you'd like to. Would you like me to call them? Or would you like to call them and I'll help you do the presentation and you can make the money? What happens there? A lot of them, they say, well, hey, I'd like to make the money. What's the deal? I get the 5 people on the phone, help them do a presentation. She makes 25% or $125 the very first day. Now what's going on with her? She just thinks it's supposed to be like this every single day. Gets her past the hump period, goes talks to her girlfriends, and all of a sudden you got an organization starting. So promotion, okay? It gets your customers to do things that they normally wouldn't do under regular circumstances. Here's another thing. Meetings. For those of you who are involved in meetings and doing meetings, here's what you need to say at the end of every single meeting. If you're at Tuesday night, guess what you're doing? You promote Thursday night. And what do you say at the end of your meeting? After every meeting, I said, if there was ever a meeting to come to, it'd be Thursday night. Let me tell you what's going to take place Thursday night. The most awesome meeting that you've ever seen in all of Herbalife is taking place on Thursday night. And you're not even going to believe what you see on Thursday night. And by the way, if there was ever a time to bring your friends, ever, it'd be on Thursday night. Guess what I end the meeting on Thursday night with? Saturday. If there was ever a meeting to come to, it'd be on Saturday. I mean, everything is going to take place on Saturday. At the end of Saturday, what do I talk about? If there was ever a meeting to come to, it'd be Tuesday night. Okay? You guys get the point? What are you doing? Write this in your notes, because this is one of the worst things you guys are at, is promotion. If you promote the meetings, what will happen? Might be that they think it's going to be the biggest meeting, the best meeting that's ever taken place, and they bring their friend. That might be what happens. Second thing, the worst thing that happens is he comes back to the meeting and he just gets around to get jacked up, to get him over the hump period, to get him into the next meeting. So promote these meetings, okay? Here's the next one that I promote. Supervisor. Why is it important to recruit as many of the people that you're going to get in on any given month by the 15th? Because that gives you the next 15 days to talk to them and go down line with them to get them to break what? Supervisor, because they have to do it by the end of the month. Okay, now if you guys will start talking about supervisor at the beginning of the month and recruit the majority of the people that you get in by the 15th and concentrate those next 15 days on, if there was ever a month to break, it'd be this month. If there was ever a month to do it, it'd be this month. If you're going to get the 50% buying privileges, you're going to be able to get royalty overrides, you guys should be able to do this. Write this in your notes. The last 10 days of the month, you should do at least half of your volume. Company does a third of its volume by the 15th, half of its volume by the 20th. In the last 10 days of the month, we do half of our entire company's business those last 10 days. Last 5 days of the month should be the most awesome 5 days in your entire month. Now, here's the next thing. You need to know what's on the calendar. You need to know what's going on in LA. You need to know what's going on in Detroit. You need to know what's going on in Dallas. You need to know what's going on in Miami, because what happens if you sign up someone in LA and their best friend is in Miami? You know what I'm saying? And next Tuesday night, there's going to be a company event in Miami. What could you guys, if you don't know it, what's going to happen? He's not going to get on the phone to call the person in Miami to get him to the meeting, and you just lost someone who might have been a Knicks President's team member. Okay? Got to know what's going on in Europe. You got to know about it. What if you sign someone up and their best friend lives in Germany, and Larry Thompson's going to appear there next Friday night in Frankfurt? Could have come there, could have been one of your Knicks President's team members. I mean, if there was ever a time to get that schedule. I'm serious about that, though. I know that sounds like a deal, but I'm serious about this. Now, let me talk to you about the extravaganza. Okay, this extravaganza is coming up, and it's going to be on February 6th. And I promise you this is for those of you who don't know what extravaganza is. It's our first worldwide event of the year. We have one once a year. There's going to be somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000 people from all over the world that come to this event. It's going to be at the Long Beach Convention Center, and I promise you Long Beach will never, ever be the same after we get done with this meeting. There's going to be people from all the countries that we exist in around the world, probably 8 to 9 different languages going on in there. And I want you to think about this. How many were at the extravaganza last year? Okay? Well, by the time we got done with cellular nutrition, the marketing plan, the videotapes, the distributor kit and all that, you guys were totally blown away with this deal. But I want you to think about where we are today as opposed to where we were then. And I want you to think about the momentum we got going into this deal, much less the stuff that we're going to introduce at the extravaganza. I mean, if I could tell you guys what the next step of this deal right here is, okay? Because when we come out with the next step of this deal, you guys ain't going to believe what's going to be coming out. If you thought this deal was awesome, wait till you see what comes out at that extravaganza. So, if you guys will get your momentum cooking between now and that extravaganza. And here's the issue with the extravaganza. Write this in your notes. You coming is not the issue. It's how many you bring to that extravaganza is the issue. You deliver us 10 people at that extravaganza, and I'm telling you something, you're going to have several people that become net team members, period. Regardless of when it happens, 2 months after, 3 months after, 6 months after, you deliver the people in front of us at that extravaganza, and there'll be people that become net team members. So anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is, if there's anything else I do in Herbalife, write this down, is I promote all the events. And of course, the other thing you've got to promote is what? Net team, millionaire team, president's team. And all you got to do is start promoting from your brand new little distributors to your Tuesday night, Thursday night, Saturday meetings, to them breaking supervisor, get to the net team. Certain amount of people that get to the net team are going to be what? Millionaire team members. Certain amount of people that get the millionaire team are going to become what? President's team members. And all you got to do to make serious money is to get 10 people to the president's team, and it's called a minimum of $3 to $5 million getting there and $1 million a year in royalty overrides. All right? Just as simple as that. Recruit a certain amount of people in, get a certain amount of people as supervisors, certain amount of supervisors, get to net team, certain amount of people at net team are going to get to millionaire teams, certain amount of millionaire team members are going to become president's team members, 10 president's team members called first line, taking them from bottom to top is $3 to $5 million minimum that you make, plus $1 million a year in royalty overrides. Simple as that. Okay, and that's what we've been doing. Okay, just a couple ending thoughts here before we go back to all of our homes and so on. We've had an incredible day here today. We've gone over a little bit more than we thought we would, but you know, we always feel like sharing so much of what we're trying to get accomplished here with everybody, and there's no question that everybody in the room can do just like all of us if you try hard enough. I want you to write that in your notes. Because if there's anything more than use, wear, talk, if there's anything more than promotion, if there's anything else other that we could pass along to you that would be the biggest thing that you could do to get rich, it would be to be consistent. Why is it that a person like a Larry Thompson has made as much money as he has? Because he's been consistent. Nobody that I've ever met in my entire life has accumulated large sums of wealth without being consistent. Every single person that I've ever met that's ever done anything significant in their life, they've all been consistent at it day after day after day after day after day, even when people made fun of them, even when people told them that it wasn't going to happen. Hey, if I had listened to all the people that told me that Herbalife wasn't going to work, and if I had listened to my negative relatives about how this deal wasn't going to work, if I had listened to my negative distributors about how Herbalife wasn't going to work, let me clue you in, I'd be out of business. And let me clue you in, there's been good times for me in Herbalife, and there's been bad times for me in Herbalife. Let me tell you something, the first 5 years of this deal was unbelievable. Let me tell you something, the first 2 years were the most difficult. The next 3 were the most outrageous I've ever seen in my entire life. 1985, let me clue you in on something. It was called difficult. Very, very difficult. Called you could get a real bad attitude real quick. You know what I'm saying? It was called Not the Day for Mark Hughes in 1985. It was an incredible experience. Like I tell you, there was a lot of people that thought we were going to pack it up and go home. But guess what Herbalife did? It stood there, it's tall and strong for its products, tall and strong for its distributors, and we rolled up our sleeves, and we used twice as much product when people were making fun of us, and we wore 2 buttons instead of 1, and we talked to 3 times as many people, and we did it day after day after day after day after day, and after many people were making fun of us, what is it called? It's called going to $1 billion, and Herbalife stands here a bright shining star from people that were consistent. So write down in your notes, be consistent. Number 1 deal on how to get rich, consistent. Even if you're doing it wrong, consistency will pay you off. Here's the number 2 thing. Get your attitude straight. Get your attitude straight about the product. Get your attitude straight about the marketing plan and no competition. Get your attitude straight about everything that you're doing every single day. And here's the next thing you do with your attitude. When it's great, show it to everybody. When it's bad, don't show it to anybody. You listen, one of the things you don't want to do with your attitude is ever show your bad attitude downline. Here's the second thing you don't want to do with it. Never show it to your upline, because your upline may show it to your downline. It's called never show your bad attitude. Now, some of you are going to have a bad attitude within the next 15 days of getting out of this meeting. You're going to have a glorious time. You're here in, little Herbalife land and stuff like that. Everything's rosy. It's so cool. It's so warm. We're hugging you all day long. Do. And you go home and you open up your message system there and turn on your tape recorders, and the first thing you hear is, Mary, I got diarrhea. You know what I'm saying? And the attitude goes straight down. Hey, listen, we had diarrhea customers. We had the constipation customers. We had the distributors that told us, hey, don't ever worry about signing up another individual again because you can retire off me alone. And they go home and they kick the Herbalife kit under the bed and it hits the Amway kit. And it ricochets off the New Skin kit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we had all the different people. But you got to get your attitude straight every single day. Now, when's your attitude got to be up the highest? When things are going the worst. You know what I'm saying? When you sign up the person and they don't work out. And then you sign up the next 10 and it doesn't work out. And the next 15 and it doesn't work out. I was with a distributor the other day and he got up and told us about how he signed up 40 people in a row, and all of them dropped out. 41 he made $500,000 on. Okay? Guess who that person was? John Peterson. Got up in front of that room, told us about what the deal was. Okay? So it's called get a good attitude and be consistent. Here's the last one. Have some faith about what's going on here in Herbalife. Have some faith about what the possibility of what the reality of what we're trying to get accomplished in this room and what can happen to you. Look at Richard down here. It makes me so proud of him that he stuck around. And here he is, the guy's going to make probably, what do you think, $70,000, $80,000 this year. You know what Jerry had? She had consistency. She had a good attitude. She had the faith. And it had to muster up a lot of faith in Herbalife back then. Let me clue you in. But guess what? Number 1 thing that Jerry had going, besides that faith, she just did it day after day after day after day after day after day, and she got rich. You look over here at John Tartle here today. What an unbelievable story. Kid was a bartender just a handful of years ago and so on. And here he is. He's made $450,000 so far this year since Cellular Nutrition came out. And my question to you here today, can you be that much different than John Tartle? You know what I'm saying? Maybe your attitude's different. Maybe your belief in the product's different. Maybe your consistency factor's different. But as a human being in the talent area, you can't be that much different than John Tartle. You see, and we can go on and on and on with all the stories in Herbalife with people who have done incredible jobs that you guys can do well. And I'd just like to say to you here today, you can become more, and you can become better, because you're looking at a kid that at 22 years of age put this thing together without a lot of talent, without all the sales ability, without all the medical degrees, and from the background that I came from, okay, I'm here to tell you that you can make anything in your life happen if you want it bad enough. And I will tell you this, you can make a lot of money in Herbalife. But the friends that you're going to accumulate are going to be outrageous. My best friends that I have in my life are sitting in this company. And the relationships that you make will not only be awesome, you're going to be able to feel so proud about people that come to you and say, thank goodness for the Herbalife company. Till next time, thank you all very much, and God bless all of you. Let's make it happen.
This Herbalife presentation provides information.
$1 a month.